So we're on our way to Tel Aviv to visit with the Jews for Jesus team. We've talked a lot on this show about bringing the gospel to the Jews, sharing the gospel in Israel, and so on and so forth. And today we're meeting with people who really do it professionally. And by professionally, I mean they've been doing it for decades. They're really good at it. So we're going to hear about why they do it, how they do it, and more importantly, get to see them in action on the streets of Tel Aviv and see what it really looks like to bring the gospel of Jesus in Israel in 2015 to the Jewish people. We met with Dan Sered, who's the Israel Director of Jews for Jesus. He oversees a team of evangelists who daily bring the gospel to Israeli society.
It is a ministry we started in 1973 in San Francisco, California, at the end of the Jesus movement, and a lot of those hippies that came to faith in the States as a part of the Jesus movement were Jewish people. A lot of the hippies were Jewish people, and hence Jews for Jesus began. It's an evangelistic ministry, a parachurch ministry, if you will, that exists to make the messiahship of Jesus an unavoidable issue to our Jewish people worldwide.
Let me ask you sort of an obvious question, an obvious answer possibly to you. Why does a Jew need to believe in Jesus?
Well, first of all, everybody needs to believe in Jesus. It's very important for us to understand that Jesus is the Messiah of the world. Jesus came as the Savior of everyone. Jewish people aren't different than Gentiles.
There are people out there who say Jews don't need to believe in Jesus, and they say the reason is because they've already got a covenant with God. They've got a covenant that supersedes Jesus, that supersedes, the need for that sacrifice.
That is not true, because that goes against the Bible. The Apostle Paul said, talking to Jewish people, said, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
We met up with Eli Birnbaum, who's an old-time friend of mine. He's been running the young adults outreach from the Michels Center in southern Tel Aviv, which is trying to impact the neighborhood.
So, around the world, religious places or places of faith are kind of used only for those who believe. And we really want our space to reach out to the community, even for those that don't believe. Yes, we want to show them the light of Jesus, but we also want to bless their community in a way that we're present, because we're here for the long term. So we want to be able to show them that they can come in and use this space as their own, and they get to meet people that believe in Jesus and hear a little bit more about it. I see the purpose of the center is twofold. One is to empower the next generation of Jewish believers to be bold in their faith and to share their faith with their peers. And the second one is to really impact a cultural change in where culture is created. This is the Cindy Center. This is where culture is created, and we believe we can impact this culture for Jesus.
Can you sort of lay out for us the different methods in which you try to get your message or our message to the Jewish people?
Yeah. Here in Jews for Jesus Israel, we have kind of like, if you will, two methods of ministry, of evangelism. We have the proclamation evangelism, which is, again, taking our message to the streets, taking our message to the media, proclaiming the gospel for everyone to hear that this guy that is Yeshua, his real name is Yeshua, Jesus, and that he is Yeshua, that he brings salvation, if you will. That's kind of our slogan. And then we have another approach, which is presence ministry. So we have proclamation ministry and presence ministry. In presence ministry, we have a presence where we want to serve this neighborhood. And we have this facility named after our founder, Moshe Rosen. And we are hosting events here, if it's galleries or lectures. And through that, build relationships. It's all about people, and it's all about ministering to people. So through whatever methodology, our goal is always to serve and minister to that individual.
We headed out with the Jews for Jesus team to see them in action on the streets of Tel Aviv, bringing the gospel to the people of Israel.
You know what? People like to talk about this. They want to have these conversations, and they say, hey, yeah, it's interesting, tell me more about it. But of course there are some people that are on hurry and they don't have time to stop and talk. And there are some people who already made their mind with different prejudices, so they don't want to talk. There is a mix of people.
You have the people who, are willing to take a flyer. You have people who are willing to stop and talk. You have people who are willing to give you their contact information. Then you have people who are willing to actually meet with you or have a conversation. And then, you have people who are willing to look seriously into Yeshua, Jesus' claims. And then you have the very few who open their hearts and give their lives to the Lord.
There are many organizations and people in Israel who are promoting God's kingdom. And the brothers and sisters from Jews for Jesus have been at this for decades. Day in and out, they're sharing the gospel on the streets of Israel. And when you hear what they have to say, you can tell they mean business. They're serious about this. So when you pray and think about Israel, these are the people on the ground. These are the soldiers in the trenches who are fighting to promote God's kingdom in this land.